Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. Shorthanded Lakers take one on the chin against the hated Celtics. Boo! Let's tell you what happened next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays. No matter how or where you get your podcasts, we certainly appreciate you supporting the number one sports podcast network in any known universe. Our show, big part of that. You are the reason that happens. Whether you get the show through Apple iTunes, through Spotify, you're one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate all of you. The Lakers, this is one of those nights, Andy, where theoretically nothing had to give. The Celtics came in playing very well. One of the better teams one of the better defensive teams, I should say, in the NBA. The Lakers coming off the second night of a back-to-back, still without Luka Dončić, LeBron James unavailable to play, with maintenance going on all his stuff, and Marcus Smart still out of the lineup. It was going to be an uphill battle for the Lakers, and it was an uphill battle for the Lakers. They lose 126-105.
To some degree, this game was lost before it even started for the factors that you'd mentioned, the guys that were absent on the heels of a really hard-fought, emotional game in Toronto against the Raptors. And as our friend John Ireland, who we both work with at 710 ESPN, who is also the radio play-by-play guy for the Lakers, getting out of customs in particular after Toronto, it's the only time where these guys basically aren't whisked in and out flying private like all over, the United States. Though obviously back-to-backs, depending on the travel, those can still be difficult. You still get in late, but you are, compared to civilians, whisked through a lot of the process. Toronto really takes a while.
It does.
So they're even going to sleep and thrown off more than normal. And then the execution throughout a lot of this game was lacking on both sides of the ball. We can get into the whys, but in particular, the first quarter just buried the Lakers. They lost 39-17 in that first quarter, 6 of 26 from the field. 23-27 splits from inside and outside the arc. Austin Reaves went 2 of 2 at the line. Those were the only 2 free throws the Lakers took. Compare that to Boston shooting 63.6 inside and outside the arc. You can see the discrepancies there. Like Austin Reaves I thought he finished the night overall well, 36 points. He 9 of 18 from the field. He got to the line 17 times.
He kind of brought it. The Lakers made a little bit of a run in the third quarter. It
was
mostly Reaves. I think 22 in the quarter.
He had 16 in the third quarter.
16 in the third.
But to put this in perspective, just how badly the first quarter went for everybody, including Austin. And to be clear, I'm not putting the loss on Austin. I'm just demonstrating how much he was struggling like everybody else in the beginning. His first quarter was 2 points, 0 of 5 from the field, 0 of 3 from behind the arc. Again, just 2 of 2 at the line. The struggles and the hole that they buried themselves in early, they didn't have the horses to get out of it. And frankly, they did not have the energy. They looked exhausted.
They did. And this is one of those games where, aside from, what you noted before and, quoting the South Park movie, Blame Canada. When you're missing Luka and LeBron, it's not just that you're missing.
LA's been punishing the bleep out of Canada lately, sports wise. So turnabout's fair play.
Canada's airport, they took their revenge.
They did.
I just, when it's not just a question, and we talked about this in different games where the Lakers have been without Luka and LeBron, and then you add in Smart there. You are so short of ball handling, and JJ talked about it before the game, like trying to find ways to make it so the Celtics couldn't just totally throw body after body after body after Reaves. And in the first quarter in particular, They were incredibly successful at it. Austin couldn't really find any space, and the Lakers don't have any secondary playmaking when those three guys are out. Gabe Vincent started and he's on the floor. He actually, shot the ball well. He had 18 points. Was one of his better games in a while. But Gabe Vincent isn't a guy that you go to start orchestrating an offense. He has no gravity. He doesn't break defenses down and all that kind of stuff. So they were short the wrong kind of players too to play against a Boston team that has a lot of wings and a guy like Jordan Walsh who is turned, talking about a player who just was kind of buried on a really good roster because there were too many good players. Now with some of the roster moves that they've made and Tatum out for the season, they're getting a chance to play some of their younger players. And Walsh in particular has been just outstanding this year. And after the game, Austin Reaves said that he, looks at Walsh as a guy who could become one of the better defenders in the league for a long time. And it's easy to see why. I focus a little bit more on what they're trying to do, the stick with itness of it. Like, the Lakers could have very easily packed this game in the third quarter. They didn't. They, went on a run. They at least made it sort of interesting going.
That was their best quarter by far.
What a lot. They came out of the halftime and they played hard and they gave themselves at least an inkling of a hope of a sort of a maybe if they could survive the minutes at the top of the fourth quarter without Reaves, and they didn't. For me, there's not a whole lot to take away from it. They tried hard. I think you continue the program forward. It wasn't a setback or anything like that. And then, you hope Sunday before the game, JJ was asked if Luka might be available. He said yes. Didn't say he would be. He said he might be. And presumably LeBron would be back in the lineup.
I get a sense that LeBron will be available. This is just a scheduled back-to-back, as you said, maintenance, which I think is a good way of putting it. Although it's interesting, the foot injury that we know LeBron has been dealing with for a few years, and when he's sat out, it's often called foot injury management. For the first time ever, they referenced an arthritic joint, which combined with the sciatica that they also cited, really reinforced, like, dude is pushing 41. Like, these those
are old man injuries.
Yes, they certainly are. And
it was interesting, though. I heard you talking to Ramona today, Ramona Shelburne on air, and she noted that, like, one of the reasons the Lakers may have called this out is to avoid the NBA getting mad at them, because this was one of the nationally televised games. It was on Amazon, it was on Prime, and there are rules about this sort of thing, who sits out and why. So they couldn't call it maintenance so much as they had to call it a real injury. I thought that was an interesting note here.
I would say that if that is the case, and I was not aware what Momo had told me about, like, teams sometimes really getting together to discuss how they're going to list this specifically because of how the league feels about certain games. If that's the case, I might advise the league, don't schedule one of your marquee Lakers Celtics on the second end of a back-to-back. And look, Boston also had a second end of a back-to-back, but they were playing against the Wizards. Like, not all back-to-backs are created equally. And Boston, I mean, just so
they won that game by like 45 points.
Right. And so this does not sound like sour grapes. Boston was clearly the better team tonight. Like, the Lakers had a lot of issues rotating to shooters around the arc. But that being said, Boston shot the bleep out of the ball. And
I mean, the guys that there are going to be breakdowns in a game like this because the floor combinations, Duthero played a lot. Like, there's a lot of floor combinations that nobody's used to. So there are going to be some breakdowns, and those guys made the shots, the Sam Hausers of the world. But then the other guys who you kind of want to let shoot were also making their shots. Like, everybody was shooting.
It's interesting.
Boston
Some of
is playing really well.
It's interesting, too. Some of the guys that the Lakers, I guess if you want to say, want them to take these shots, whether you're talking about, Jordan Walsh or Baylor Shireman or whatever, like, they're low volume 3-point shooters, but they actually can make those shots. And whether because they were allowing them to get into, they were either picking poisons or kind of allowing them to get into rhythm or a little bit of both. They were spent, man. They were just spent heading into this game. Again,
it's not
Boston,
surprising. Yeah.
Boston
And
outplayed them.
it's just not surprising too that Boston's got, it's hard to play that game with Boston because as a team that is, by design shooting, anywhere from 30 to 50 3-pointers a night, pretty much everybody on the roster can shoot. Like you can't try to shoot, you can't build your offense that way and then not have just a large volume of guys who can do it. So we'll see what
24 of 45 from behind the arc.
And that's not, I don't think that's their high water mark for the season. I know they've been over 50 this year. It's, we'll see what happens on Sunday. If the Lakers are a little bit more at full strength, we're not sure who's going to play for Philadelphia on any given day. So we'll find that out as well. But, I think Sunday's game becomes much more of a good gauge to see where they are and finish the road trip 2-1 with presumably, until we hear differently, Luka and LeBron, hopefully both back in the lineup. So we would love to tell you that Locked On Lakers is where over 37,000 subscribers hang out to talk about things like this game, Andy, but we can't leave until we tell everybody about this.
Well, that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by DoorDash. The season is heating up. DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through, whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player. Big day for Baylor Shireman. DoorDash makes the entire season more fun. Every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, the gear fresh, and the watch party vibes on point. There are nights when your team's going to stress you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert now, or snacks, cups for your post-game beverage that you forgot to pick up, or you send a phone charger to the friend that's always at 2%, but you guys text about the game afterwards. That's the good luck ritual to keep the vibes going. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash in your bag all season long.
If you told me Baylor Shireman was trying to earn his tour card this year and make the Ryder Cup team in a couple of years, I'd believe you. It's
not accurate. He's my accountant.
It's a very golf name. Locked On Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel, the NBA. It's in full swing. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a single game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports book partner of, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, we will see everybody after the game on Sunday.